What's going on, everyone? Are you retarded? If so, you're probably a traitor because retard unscrambles to traitor. Sorry, YouTube, that's just a fact. What's going on? In this one, we're going to show you what to do from a blank Weeble page. Now, before we even get into this, we're going to go into the settings. Now, I am on the PC here, so keep that in mind. Now, one thing is first before we go any further. Make sure that you have Oprah real time, not Oprah Winfrey, Oprah real, God, okay, there's a wow joke in there somewhere. Oprah Winfrey, Oprah real time quotes. You need to make sure those are active because you do not want to trade off of 15-minute delayed prices. Not good. So make sure that is enabled. Now, the easiest way that I have found to get this and not have to pay for it is you sign up on Weeble on your phone. And if you don't like trading on your phone, it's whatever. But, just for a second, just go on Weeble on your phone and you can get Oprah from your phone at no cost, I believe. I do not pay for it. And if I do, I don't know, and then that's probably not good for me. I should probably check into that. But as far as I know, I do not pay for Oprah. Anyways, so this is Weeble. This is the app I like to use. If you use a different app, it's fine. Just follow along as best you can with your own tools that you have in your brokerage app. If you have Weeble, I'm going to go through this real quick. And I'm just going to give you my exact setup and what I like to do and how I like to view things. And it's not really a lot at all. It's again, I like to minimalize things and just stick to what works and be very consistent with what works. So let's go ahead and get started. So on the left-hand side, you have a few things, buttons and everything. The only one I ever use really is the stocks tab, unless I'm paper trading on the computer, which I don't do. So I usually do that on my phone. Actually, I always do that on my phone. I find it much easier. So first thing you would do is you want to add widgets. So we need a few things. Obviously, we need a chart because we're not blindly trading. So we add that, and then you can put it, once you add it, you can put it right here into a tab form. So you want to have the chart right there, and you can, whatever order you like. I'm just going to show you my personal order. Definitely going to need the options, and unless you want to play shares. We have tons of share setups as well. We have a regulation show feed that covers the entire market and gives great opportunities on discounts for reg show plays. So if you're not comfortable with options, we're not an options only group. We do shares as well, and we do have breakout and scalp alerts and all that good shit too, and crypto. So keep that in mind. No one's forced to do anything here. This is an individual place to learn and try to do what works and all that jazz. So we have the chart. We want the options, obviously. We want, if you trade from your computer, you would obviously want the P&L. You would want your active trade, whatever you like to trade with, however you like to trade with, you would want to put in this tab list as well. But basically, that's how it works. You go through the widgets. Pick what you want. When you add it, you drag it, you drop it right there to the little list tablet right there. And we also want, let's see, we can also search for it. Let's do the calendar. You want the calendar just in case to verify earnings. Sometimes, every now and then Weeble does get the earnings wrong. So we got calendar, we got options, we got the chart. We need one more thing. And, there's other stuff too. If you want the heat map, it's whatever you want. But this is what I like to use. One more thing, the volume analysis. The volume analysis. These four things. So, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so we have the chart, the options, the calendar, and the volume analysis. Starting from the chart. You have your time frames down here to quickly look between different time frames. I'm constantly doing this on my phone, constantly. When everyone asks me what time frame I'm looking at, I'm like, all of them, Billy, at once. You can add more by clicking this down arrow down here next to the M or whatever the last time frame happens to be on this little horizontal bar here. Click the down arrow and all the options come up. With Weeble, they do provide free one-tick data, trading view, and free 1 second data. So keep that in mind. But those are good for backdated analysis. But in real-time trading, I would not recommend using the 1 second unless you're just a beast. And then if that's the case, teach me, Daddy, because that would be badass to learn. Now, personally speaking, I turn all these on. All of them. Every single one of them. And then I just go down the line. But before you can look at different time frames, you have to set up your main chart. Now, a few things that I personally can't stand. Number one, the grid lines in the background. I hate it, so I turn them off. Nice black background. Another thing, MA, don't like it. I'm going to turn it off. I only use the MA when I'm trading SPY and the SPX, which is in between FOMC cycles and other macro events. Core is what works consistently. This is all this is about, is core. So all the SPY junkies, I mean, we'll have our opportunities for that shit, but majority of the time, we'll be playing core because core is where the consistency is at. So, chart setup. You want to, when you're looking for plays, stay on the daily, because if you see these daily gaps like this one, that's what you're looking for. You also have these technical indicators that show up by default. If you would like to turn those off, just click on one, and then you can come here, and you can turn them off if you want. You know, I like to keep them on. It's an extra addition to help. If you want to turn them off like loophole, you can just zoom out far enough and they'll disappear. So, I mean, that's another option. The E's down here represent earnings, so just pay attention to those. And as far as other chart settings, what you would want to do is you would want to right click, and this feature is only available on the PC. So for phone users, unfortunately, as far as gaps, you're not going to be able to get the nice shaded regions automatically placed for you. So if you're looking for gaps, I always use the PC to look at charts, always. I don't look at my phone to do TA or all that jazz or look at charts. I always use the PC when it comes to gaps. Now other things, phone's okay, but when it comes to gaps specifically, you could definitely miss one if you don't have that helpful guide that I'm about to show you. So you right click on this, go to chart settings, and then you go to show extended hours. Now this can differ. You may want to experiment when you're analyzing charts to have this off and on, especially if looking at gaps, because gaps will change depending on this being on or off, because a lot of gaps do happen in after hours. But it's good to have this on in general. So you have the extended hours checked. Everything else just keep as default. You'll definitely want corporate actions. That's another thing you'll want to avoid when looking at core plays. We'll go over that in a later date. But you can turn your grid lines back off here, whatever you want. This is how I like to do it. As far as the crosshair data, fixed is fine. Sometimes I like to turn it off if I'm really trying to zone in on shit. It just depends. Now, this show candles gap is what you want. You want, obviously, show 5. And now what this means, it's not only showing you 5. It's showing you 5 at one time. So if I zoom in here, and there's 2 gaps here on this chart, this is a gap here, and this is a gap here. I'll put lines on it just for those who may be hard of sight. There's a gap here on the chart that's shaded dark for us, and there is one obviously here. Hopefully you can see that one. Those are the gaps. There's 2. Now, if I were to zoom to the left, actually, let's go to the 1 tick. I can demonstrate this actually on the 1 tick. So you see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gaps there? Well, if I were to scroll over, another gap just appeared. Because as soon as one drops off the screen, we have a room for another gap. So it's not showing you only 5. It only shows you 5 at one time. So that's what's important to understand when it comes to looking at Webull gaps. So because even if there's even if you see 5 on a chart, you still should zoom in, scroll around a little bit to see if there's another gap that wasn't showing up because it hit that 5 gap threshold. But let's get out of this chart. Looks like the matrix. Back to the 1 day. But yeah, those are your gaps. So your chart's basically set up. You have your default indicators that can help, that show you when you hover over them what happened. It describes the indicator, what it means, and it shows the crosses and everything if you click on it. And actually will program your indicators to fit the way that these were programmed, so you can see it for yourself, just like that. So keep that in mind as well. Pretty cool stuff. Now I'm going to get rid of this real quick. That's the CCI one right there. And the indicators, by the way, to turn them on and to set them, that's what we're going to look at next. It's all the way up here in the top left. Indicators, and you have drawings if you want to draw. This is your drawing section. Candle styles right here if you want to do a line chart. Candles, hollow candle, whatever you want. And you got your grid here, which is pretty cool. I like keeping it at one chart. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3. But if you're one of those dudes that likes to do, or girls that likes to do 10 charts at once, I mean, you have the ability with Webull, I believe up to 9. So have at it. Anyways, okay, so indicators. For the core, the only thing you'll need to worry about, really, let's go and turn these candles back on, is the MACD and the RSI. That's it. Just 2. Now, the reason for this is RSI, obviously, we use to determine when it's going to be a exploitable play. We use the earnings to see when the gaps will happen. And then the gaps themselves are the exploitable factor because the overreaction from the earnings causes the gap, which causes the overreaction, which causes the inevitable exploit of the RSI correction, which is what this is all about. And, you know, it's timing your entry, that is the critical part. But it's really not all that critical because as long as you follow the process, stay in the money, exit if pushed out of the money, you'll be just fine. Because in intrinsic value and the fact that RSI, when it gets this low, it corrects every time without question. So that's the indicators. And then for the MACD, all default settings, you just want to look. And the way the MACD works, all it is, these 2 lines here, you have an orange one and a blue one. Whenever the orange and the blue one cross, the MACD will typically cross. Except right here, kind of just got strung out a little bit. But that is what it means. Whenever the lines cross, the color up here changes. Green goes to red when they cross. And then when these cross again, red will go back to green. And you want to try to time it, but not on the daily with core. This is when you go down to lower time frames. This is when you want to go analyze it. Look at lower time frames when you want to enter. That's it. There's no reason to look at these lower time frames unless you're thinking about entering a trade. Because it doesn't fucking matter what happens on this time frame, the 15-minute, if the daily tells a whole different story and you're not even planning on getting into the trade. So if you're looking at a 5-minute time frame for a trade that you're going to get into next week, don't look at the 5-minute time frame. Look at the daily or even the weekly. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Look at the time frame that fits your own personal strategy for the trade that you're in. You're the only one that knows your own risk. You're the only one that can assess that risk in real time as the trade's occurring. And you're the only one that can get yourself out of it if it goes against you. And the benefit is you have a back support drop for that exit, which is if you get pushed out of the money, shit, I'm going to get out. There's going to be another play tomorrow on the screener that I can try. Not a big deal. Minimal damage, and you may have learned something. So there's nothing wrong with that. So that's basically it for the chart. You got your indicators, your RSI, your MACD, you got your gap settings, your general settings. Get Oprah turned on. You're going to make sure you have to have Oprah. You have to. Not Oprah Winfrey. But, Anyways, so that's basically it for the chart. Next, we're going to go to the options chain. Now, starting from the options chain, and it says right here, this data that you're looking at is the highest of quality data that is provided that I have seen on the internet on any trading brokerage, and I've used a lot of them. Now, this is provided, and the reason I say that is because of the data itself. Options, Greeks, and implied volatility are provided by SIBO, Hanweck, and automatically updates every 5 seconds if subscribed to Oprah real-time options data. So, again, superior data, SIBO, Hanweck is legit shit. That's what I want to get for the group, but we got to get there first. That shit's expensive. But anyways, options chain. Setup. Up here, you have a couple options. You have single, covered stock, straddle, strangle, vertical, butterfly. If you're new to options, you don't need to worry about any of this shit. Just stick to single for now. Next, strikes. Definitely want to have all of them to assess the entire chain, the entire situation. Now you'll notice this option chain did not change at all, but if I were to go to the SPY and I put 6 on there, it's nothing. Now if I put all, there's the full picture. That way you can see the data. Now, as far as the data columns themselves, I like to make sure that both are on, because sometimes if you have one on and you're trading in the moment and stuff, you're not paying attention, you could accidentally buy calls when you're trying to buy puts or vice versa. So I like to always keep it on both, because then I know calls left, puts right, calls left, puts right. I never make that mistake because I've made that mistake before. Again, all this stuff that I'm showing you is from my own personal mistakes that I've made. So again, I am retarded, which unscrambles to trader, and that's ironic. So next up here at the bar, we have regular, weeklies, and quarterlies. Why not? Have them all checked. Standard and non-standard. Why not? Have them both checked, just in case there's some non-standard opportunities, which I don't recommend trading non-standard, but again, not financial advice. Not a financial advisor yet, wink, but it's always, in my experience, been safer to play standard. That's it for the top bar here. Next, we have a very tiny option items symbol right here, next to the heart kind of on the bar here, right above the expiration date here. We click that. Then it gives us our options for the columns up here. Definitely, I don't know why Webull doesn't default volume on here. Come on, Webull, what are you doing there? But definitely want to make sure you got the volume turned on. And I'll show you how I like to have mine. They don't put the bid on there either. Oh, God. Come on, Webull. That's messed up. Okay, so... okay, that was the bid size. My bad. Okay, so it's the way I like to do it. I like to put, and the way to change these around, I like to put the open interest first. And I like to put the volume second. I like to put the implied volatility third. I like to take the ask and put it way over here so I don't even have to look at it, because F the ask. There's no reason you should even touch the ask or even know it exists unless you're selling options, which although that is level 1 options, nobody wants to learn it. So when you're selling options, it's good to sell the ask. When you're buying options, it's good to buy the bid, basically. But anyways, this is not a level 1 options video. So anyways, now we have it organized. We have open interest first, volume second, implied volatility third, the bid fourth. The last, don't really even need it. I'm going to take this off actually. The ask came back. Get it out. Get it away. Theta, gamma, delta, mid. The percent change is okay too on the very end there. But this is how I like to have it set up. Really, I'm only looking at these first 5 columns, first 6 columns. And then every now and then I'll look at the theta. And definitely right now, considering there's rate hikes, I definitely want to have row on there. So I'm going to add the row real quick. Row, row, row your boat. Look at that row, baby. All right, got the row on there. Where'd it go? Where is it? I don't see it. Did it not add it? No, it's on there. It's probably way down here on the right or the left. Get some of this stuff out of here. Delete. I don't want the open or the high or the low. There it is. Okay, so the ask is out of sight. The row's at the very end. I got my open interest first, volume second, implied volatility third, bid fourth, mid fifth, percent change sixth. Those are the first 6 I look at. Now, why do I set the options chain up this way? Well, I look at open interest as defense and volume as offense. So I want to be able to quickly analyze this and be like, okay, 820 versus 271, which one's higher? The open interest, there's more defense on the 140 strike. For the call side, look over the put side, there's 0 volume basically. So this would actually be an unusual option here for the call side September 16th puts for this ticker here, which is SPY. So that's why I like to do it. It's just a very quick glance. So you got boom, 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 implied volatility, volume, open interest. Perfect. And that's basically it for the options chain. Just analyze these 6 things, make sure they're all in check, and you should be good. But yeah, this IV here is extremely high because it's deep in the money. So anyways, next is calendar. Really nothing much to do here. It's just, if you want to look and to verify earnings, you can. You can check each day. There's a little calendar box up here to the right. Click on that and you can go back in time, look at earnings that previously happened. If you want to make sure that one of the core plays really did have earnings 2 days ago, you can verify it with your own eyes. And the more you do that, the better off you're going to be. Next, we have volume analysis. This is actually pretty neat and can help with entries and can kind of help with intraday pricing too, because you'll notice some shit about it. Now, this is the SPY, right? Look at the volume analysis. What does it tell you? Let's drill down on this. There is 9.7 million buy volume, there's 10.45 million sell volume, and there's 19.44 million neutral volume. Well, look at the number one price on the day. The price is 394.6. That is the number one bot price in today's trading day, with 300,000 buy volume and 10 sell volume. The next closest one has 23. And this is an occurrence that I've been observing in this volumes analysis for the better part of the last 8 months. So if you do not have this, I would definitely add it. It's on your phone as well. I would definitely look at this, because pay attention to those top prices. Because you know why? If you go back to the Discord, what was the price? 394.6. And we go here. And we go here to the search bar and we type in quotes, dark pool trade, SPY. And we look for that price that I just showed you. What was it? 394.60? Right, it's right there. Right there. Right there. Today, time 3:57 p.m. Eastern on September 15th, 2022. Size and price 251,040 shares at the price of, you guessed it, $394.59, meaning this rounded up, it's the same price. Talking a less than a penny difference. It's the price. Right here. Now, ain't that some shit? That's why I love this shit. Because we just connected real life data in a brokerage app and verified it with in-house Discord data. That's the future, baby. Hopefully this one helped you out.